Using propolis routinely in your life may seem like something simple and inexpensive, but despite being simple and inexpensive, its potential is immense. Propolis has the ability to positively impact several areas of your health and your life. And when I say this, I am not exaggerating. Propolis, for example, helps your body regenerate damaged tissues. And when I talk about regeneration tissues, I'm not just referring to a cut on your skin. I'm talking about the tissues of your organs. Tissues that suffer small daily injuries caused by chronic inflammation or by the natural wear and tear of metabolism. And that is exactly where propolis acts, helping the body, helping the organs recover. In addition, it plays a very important role in gut health, helping control dysbiosis, balance the microbiota, and even reduce food cravings, especially those related to sugar. Propolis also strengthens the immune system, stimulating the production of neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine. It improves memory, cognition, and mental performance, and it has a powerful effect against bacteria, viruses, and fungi. In fact, I place propolis alongside coconut oil as one of the most impressive natural substances I know in the fight against microorganisms. So, given its affordable cost, ease of use, and countless benefits, I consider the regular use of propolis to be a truly powerful tool, a simple way to provide the body with valuable nutrition resources. Among the natural compounds present in propolis that explain its effects on the body, we have flavonoids. Flavonoids are substances that help the body function better. You will not develop a disease from a lack of flavonoids, but their presence in the body significantly improves health. Flavonoids are like extra helpers. You can live without them, but you live much better with them. In fact, you live far better with them. Another interesting highlight of propolis is its cardiovascular benefit. Some flavonoids found in propolis directly support blood vessel health, both by reducing inflammation, which prevents damage, and by stimulating the production of nitric oxide, a substance that relaxes and protects your blood vessels. And there is more. Benzoic acid, also found in propolis, has such a strong antibacterial action that it is even used in the pharmaceutical industry. But propolis goes far beyond that. Propolis also has a powerful healing and regenerative properties. This effect is mainly due to a substance called pinosembrin. In fact, the same substance is called pinosembrin used by the pharmaceutical industry in ointments and creams for cuts, wounds, and healing. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this healing and regenerative effects is not limited to the skin. It also happens inside the body. Pinosembrin helps the body regenerate all types of tissues and cells, including the tissues of your organs, which suffer small daily injuries caused by inflammation, oxidative stress, and the natural wear and tear of metabolism. And the better the body's ability to repair these micro-injuries that occur every day, the better the entire system will function. But it doesn't stop there. There is another characteristic of propolis that few people know about it, and it makes all the difference in daily life. Propolis can help control sugar and refined carb cravings, and this effect is linked to apigenin, another compound present in propolis. You know that sudden urge to eat something sweet in the late afternoon? That impulse to grab some junky food even when we are not really hungry? Well, apigenin acts directly on the modulation of genes connected to this type of behavior. Of course, in the middle of a craving, you don't usually have time to think, oh, I will just take a few drops of propolis. Obviously not. That's why if you struggle with frequent cravings for sweet, bread, and high-calorie foods, using propolis routinely can be an excellent tool. Because most of the time, what you are feeling isn't hunger. It's just an impulse. And this kind of food compulsion is closely tied to gut dysbiosis. Yes, once again the gut comes into play, and that is no coincidence. When dysbiosis occurs, meaning an imbalance in the gut bacteria on the gut, the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine decreases. And when serotonin and dopamine drop, it directly affects mood, behavior, and even appetite. And this is exactly where propolis also stands out. Propolis help in treating dysbiosis, acting as an important ally in rebalancing the gut flora. Of course, that propolis alone will not fix dysbiosis, but it can and should be used as part of a broader strategy. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, propolis also has a powerful antifungal effect. If you happen to struggle with seborrheic dermatitis, which shows up as dandruff, reddish patches on the skin, flaky, itchy, irritation, or even fungal issues in the nails, know that this is a sign of excess fungos in your gut. These visible symptoms on the skin are only external reflections of an internal problem. Unfortunately, what often happens in these signs with a classic manifestation of fungal overgrowth in the gut end up being treated with corticosteroid creams or local antifungal ointments, instead of addressing the main cause which lies in the gut. When we manage to reduce excessive fungal growth in the intestine, these external symptoms tend to improve naturally. Now, of course, Propolis alone does not resolve a cause of intestinal fungus. There are several other measures that need to be taken to reduce fungal overgrowth in the gut, but propolis is certainly an excellent tool to help maintain a healthy intestine. So, if you suffer from symptoms of excess intestinal fungus, like the ones I mentioned above, like dandruff, fungi, reddish patches, itching, irritations, or even nail fungus, know that one of the most effective steps you can take today to fight the fungi growth in your gut is to reduce your carbohydrate intake. Because yes, diet directly impacts the balance of the gut microbiota. And the more sugar and refined carbs in your diet, the higher the risk of fungal overgrowth. There are clear physiological and metabolic reasons that justify this recommendation to drastically cut carbs in order to control fungal growth in the intestine. But going into those details now will take us completely away from the focus of this video, which is propolis. So, for now, what you need to know is this. Reducing carb in your diet and increasing healthy fats, such as coconut oil, along with good protein sources, can naturally help eliminate these fungi. In fact, the use of berberine and oregano essential oil are also excellent tools to fight fungi from the inside out. But we will not go into detail about berberine and oregano oil here, since that is not the focus of these videos. Let's return to our main theme with this propolis. By now, we have already talked about many of its benefits. Its ability to regenerate tissues, strengthen the immune system, fight viruses, bacteria, and fungi, help control food cravings, and even assist in treating intestinal dysbiosis. And precisely because it helps combat dysbiosis, propolis also contributes to improve the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. And by enhancing serotonin and dopamine levels, it naturally impacts memory, mood, cognitive performance, and even behavior. In fact, propolis contains many other bioactive compounds beside the ones I have mentioned here. But the ones I highlighted in the short video are the main ones. The most abundant and also the most studied by science today. Now, before wrapping up, there is a very important point you need to know. There are two main types of propolis on the market. Alcohol-based propolis extract and water-based propolis extract. In practice, this means the following. The alcohol-based version usually extracts a higher amount of active compounds, which is why the taste of alcohol-based propolis extract is stronger. On the other hand, the water-based extract has a milder flavor. And since it doesn't contain alcohol, it is more suitable for children and pregnant women. Another essential point you need to pay attention to is the concentration of bioactive compounds in the bottle. On the label, you will find something like 12%. In other words, it tells you how many percent of that products actually correspond to active compounds. Put simply, this means that in propolis with 12% concentration, you will find 12 grams of the dry propolis in every 100 milliliters of the product. The idea is to look for versions with at least 12% concentration. From that level onward, you can already achieve good results, both for prevent use and as support in more target treatments. Yes, there are more concentrated versions available, going up to 40%. But in practice, if your goal is long-term healthcare, it's best to choose something affordable that you can consistently maintain. Because the most important factor is continuity. It is better to use a lower concentration version, around 12% every day, than to buy a more expensive, highly concentrated propolis and not be able to keep up with it. Remember what I just said. The most important thing is the continuity daily use. So if your focus is prevention, the ideal use is 20 to 25 drops per day. Now, if you are using propolis as part of a treatment, for example, if you have the flu, a cold, or want to speed your recovery, you can increase the dosage to as much as 15 drops per day. In these cases, the best approach is to divide these 15 drops throughout the day. A little in the morning, a little in the mid-morning, at lunchtime, in the afternoon, and in the evening. This way, the body is exposed to propolis gradually, which favors absorption, improve the use of its active compounds, and enhance its healing and immune-boosting effects. But if you use propolis routinely, I truly believe you will hardly ever need to resort to high dose to fight off a cold or other infections. Because frequent, consistent use already provides excellent immune support, helping the body prevent more significant infections conditions. And here's a practical tip I always give. If you are going to use propolis every day, keep a separate cup just for that. Propolis tend to stain glass or ceramic, so set aside a small cup and always use the same one. For example, I usually pour in about 1 or 2 fingers of water and add 20 to 25 drops every night, and drink it at once. That way, you barely taste it. Honestly, it has already become part of my night ritual. But if it's easier for you to take it in the morning, right after you wake up, that is also an excellent option. The important thing is to find a way that best fits your routine and turn it into a habit. For children who don't adapt well to the taste, there are syrup versions especially formulated for kids. with a more pleasant flavor. And if there is still resistance, there is also the capsule option, which can be a good alternative. Still, when it comes to cost effectiveness, the liquid form remains the most accessible.